All right.
All right.
Thanks. Cheers.
Cheers. Hello.
Thanks for coming and helping me out with this first episode of our new podcast.
You're welcome.
The goal is to introduce people to the art galleries in Toronto to start with, and then hopefully we can kind of expand from there. But obviously interviewing myself would be weird.
Fair.
Having myself in both chairs, talking to myself,
That's
would
what
be a little
I'm
bit
here
strange.
for.
So yeah, I appreciate it. Thanks for being our neighbor and being open to helping out when we are in a pinch.
Anytime you need me, just broomstick to the ceiling. And I'm Vanessa. And yeah, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and the space that we're sitting in right now?
Yeah. My name's Graham Louie. I'm one of the owners of the gallery, of Hashtag Gallery. I run the space with Adrian Hales, who's a local mural artist, and he also runs a lovely life drawing session here on Mondays. So if you're an artist and you want to drop by, feel free to come for the drop-in session. We've been open since April 2012, so we're coming up on 8 years now, which is crazy, but we're still here, which is awesome. But the goal of the gallery is to help emerging artists with a place that looks nice to show their artwork. And I also like graffiti art and street art stuff, so we tend to show a lot of that kind of stuff too, because I find it's more exciting. That's what I like to go and see when I go down to New York or wherever. The idea was kind of like bring some of that kind of stuff up in Toronto, make things a little more exciting, help the people we could help. And that's kind of basically what we do here. We don't necessarily run it like a traditional gallery. It's more just the way we think it should be done. Obviously, there are traditional models of how things are run in different spaces. But sometimes we make it up as we go along. If we think something doesn't make sense, where we go to another spot. I don't like to go into necessarily galleries where you feel like you have to whisper or tiptoe because you can hear your feet clicking on the ground and stuff. So we usually have some music playing when people walk in the door, or you kind of chat with them. I usually try and find out a little bit of like how they found out about the show. Sometimes people are just walking by and they randomly walk in, they see something that catches their eye. The goal of the gallery is to use technology to bring people out in real life to see shows, because a lot of people, their faces are glued to their phones. So obviously, if that's the case, their eyeballs are on their phone screen. We want to get those eyeballs out in real life to enjoy art in person, and meet the artists, meet the other people that are in the community, the supporters, that kind of stuff.
Nice.
I mean, we don't necessarily like hard sell people on art, because I don't like when people do that to me, so I don't do that to other people.
Nice.
Yeah.
Sounds very inviting.
That's good. That's what we're going for, is inviting and friendly, and something hopefully a little bit different. Make people less nervous about walking into an art gallery thinking they're going to be sold stuff right away.
Great.
I'd rather not be that kind of place. I want people to come in and actually enjoy the art, and even if it's just coming in and sitting down and looking at it for a bit. And some people want to chat, some people don't, and we kind of I try to make sure I don't talk to people who don't want to be talked to, and the ones who do, I get in conversations and try to make them feel. Yeah,
feel
exactly.
The vibes.
Yeah.
Cool. So you gave us a good amount of background. So what really made you guys want to start?
Again, like the emerging artist thing was a big thing for us, because I went to Sheridan and OCAD and graduated with a bunch of very talented artists, and people that we went to school with that were grades ahead of us or behind us or whatever. A lot of them graduate university and end up working as baristas in coffee shops, or they work as servers in restaurants because they can't make a full-time career as an artist. And a lot of people, the excuse was also, no galleries will show my work because I have to have 5 shows on my resume or my CV before they'll even look at me. And I just thought that was stupid. So we opened up a space to take away that excuse, because I do feel like, to a lot of people that was kind of an excuse. They're like, oh, well, no one will show my stuff, so I'll just stop. It's a hobby now, even though I went to school for it. And I just thought that kind of sucked. So we opened up a gallery to take that excuse away and hopefully help those people out, the ones that needed the help. That's kind of the gist of it, to help people who wanted to help and who wanted to help themselves. So if someone walks to the door and is really gung-ho about doing their first art show, they show me some decent work, whatever, and they have their portfolio together, their CV, they have a nice presentation, it looks professional. We want to help those kind of people that are really trying to make a go of it and need that boost. I see us as a kind of a launchpad gallery where it's not showing your stuff at a coffee shop in Kensington Market or whatever, and it's not selling blue chip art for millions of dollars, but we're a place that maybe people can come and do their first show in a nice looking space and use that to put on their CV so that they can go and approach a different gallery later on and say, hey, I did do a show at a place. And yeah, hopefully it's helping. Hopefully it's helping.
So how does it operate here? Is it commercial, not-for-profit?
We're a commercial gallery, but we kind of do things a little bit non-traditionally, like I was saying before. We don't have a set model where we do have like a roster of artists we work with on a regular basis, and we do try and sell their art throughout the year. So for them, we have one kind of set up, organized. Anyone who just like walks through the door and wants to do a show, usually I chat with them a bit, see what they want to do, take a look at the work. And for them, we have a couple of different package kind of options. One of them is kind of we do 50-50 on sales, but we do like a sales minimum. And we base all those or there's the other options, an upfront rental fee and a much lower commission. The goal is not to have to do ever rental shows, but commercial rent in Toronto is very high, and it's tough to make it as an artist, just to make it go as a gallery as well. There's lots of places that open up every year, and unfortunately a lot of places shut down every year as well. So like I said, we kind of, some things we make up as we go along, because some stuff makes sense the way it's currently being done, some stuff doesn't. So we're trying to figure out different ways of doing things that might work better for the artists and not break the bank for them, and not make us go out of business for not being able to pay the rent. So
Fair.
Yeah, the idea is to work with them so that they're happy with the situation and they don't feel like they're being hard done by. And then on our end, we're still able to make ends meet and cover the costs. So we don't make a profit off any of the rental kind of stuff. We just base it on what our own expenses are here. So that's covered. And the way that I see it, that makes us work harder to sell the art because we want to make a profit and actually make profitable business, and it makes the artists work hard on their end as well because they don't want to have to spend any money. So the idea is for everyone to make money off the whole show. Obviously, as a commercial business, and as an artist selling art, the goal is to make money off of your work. So yeah, the idea is for everybody to be equally invested and kind of work together. To make that happen. So it's not just someone that's an artist that comes and drops off their work and says, see you at the end of the show, where's my paycheck? And it's not the other way around where the gallery's not doing anything at all because they've already made their rental money or whatever. And they don't care about sales because if it's, there's no incentive for the gallery to sell art, there's no commission on it or whatever, there's no incentive, I find, for the gallery to sell the art, unless you're doing it out of the kindness of your heart, which some people do. But as a business, there's obviously less incentive if you're making a profit off of the rental side of stuff than there is if you're making the money off the commission side of things, right? So it makes, everyone kind of works together, works hard to make that happen. So that's kind of our goal is to do it a little bit untraditionally to work together.
I love it. Yeah. Okay, and you already explained a bit about the inspiration being for emerging artists, but could you go a little bit more into detail about what you would look for in an artist if they were to apply? So that goes back to a little bit what I was mentioning earlier about when they come through the door to do a show. I look at what they've got put together. What I like to see is people who are willing to say work as a team, work with the gallery to make a show happen. Ones that they're not just going to come in and drop off their art and say see you later. Yeah.
Write proper emails. There's a lot of people that email us every week through our generic info at one, through my personal email, through Adrian's email. A lot of people will just email and say, hey, here's my artwork, take a look at it. And that's it. It'll just be like, here's a link to my website. And there's no further anything to it. There's no them introducing themselves at all. There's no, it doesn't have to be a super long 10-paragraph email, but at least show me that you have your stuff together, right? Like have a portfolio of specific images. Don't show me everything you've ever done.
Right.
And say, hey, pick out ones you like and show those ones. Don't worry about the rest. Ignore it. It's also obviously annoying when people send you emails like 20 gigabyte emails or 20 megabyte emails just clogs your inbox up and you can't get through anything because it's whatever. Yeah. So it's nice to have like a package together, I guess is what I would say. Okay. That looks formal that you're representing to somebody. Okay. As opposed to just randomly do it.
That's fair. Any more tips that you would like to give for any artists that are looking to have a show here?
Yeah, I mean, any artist that's looking to do a show, I would say the best thing to do is to go to the gallery that you're interested in. Hopefully, this web series or this podcast that we're doing, the goal is to introduce the people that run the galleries so that you know which galleries you should be approaching. So if you only do, graffiti art, you're not necessarily going to go to a place in Yorkville that specializes in abstract art or that specializes in photography or whatever, right? And I found like a lot of people, will send random emails that are just kind of like a shotgun blast. They'll just send it to everybody and see what sticks. That's not a great approach because it doesn't make you look like you know what you're doing at all, right? I would say the best thing to do is to go to those galleries.
Show face.
Not necessarily just walk in the door and be like, who's the director? I want to speak to them. Come to the art galleries, check out the shows that are on, go to an opening night, chat with the artist that's doing the show there, find out what they think about the gallery, find out, their experiences, find out if your artwork might fit with it.
Feel it out.
Because,
yeah.
I mean, I've definitely given people shows, like we've not given, that could be the right term, I don't know. I've definitely done shows with people or brought people in to do shows at the gallery because they've come to a bunch of shows here and we get to know them, they get to be friends, like that kind of stuff. Or, friendly, whoever, at least acquaintances kind of thing. And, they show me their artwork at some point and I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool. Let's try and set something up. Why not? Let's give it a shot, see what happens. Why not? And, if they had just randomly cold called me and said, hey, here's my website, check out my stuff, I probably would have just glanced over it and kept going.
Yeah.
Right? But at least that they show that initiative that they want to be part of the community that you're building, as opposed to someone who just emails you and says, hey, I want to do a show. I mean, we also get people emailing about events. Like they want to throw like a book launch or a movie screening or something like that.
Nice.
And they'll send me an email and say, hey, I want to do a movie screening. I need enough space for 110 people to come in and watch a movie. And I'm looking at this email or this phone call and being like, you can't fit 110 people in here. Have you been to our space?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's kind of what this podcast is about, is to kind of get people acquainted with the spaces so they know not to randomly call someone up that, and try and book a 400-person cocktail party or wedding reception or whatever, and clearly they can't fit that people in space. But they've read about you online, so they know that it's a place they could go. And
right.
yeah, so hopefully this helps with that kind of thing, and it helps artists answer that exact question, right? What do you look for in an artist? What should they be looking for in a gallery too? So
yeah, good fit. Yeah.
Hopefully.
So, can you tell us about any upcoming shows that you got going on, Graham?
Yep. The next one in January is an artist that actually came into the gallery and just started talking to me.
Nice.
About doing stuff, and then actually did exactly what I was just saying.
Perfect.
Came to some opening receptions, came by and chatted once in a while, and showed me the stuff.
Oh, that's great.
They had stuff in the 4x4 show, which is an annual show we do. It's all 4-inch by 4-inch art.
Cool.
Kind of like a lead up to Christmas. It's the idea is kind of a business card type thing almost. It's like networking for artists. It's a sample of kind of what they do. So it's a 4-inch by 4-inch piece, so it's pretty small. But it gives people an idea of what kind of art they do. And the idea is to get, we usually get about 50 to 60 artists taking place every year, or taking part in the show every year. And hopefully they get commissions out of it. I know a few people this year said that they came by and said thank you afterwards, that they got a couple people commissioning larger pieces, which is perfect. That's exactly what we're going for. And it gets you out of your comfort zone again as well. It's, if you're not used to working small, you're only used to working big, then it gives you an excuse or a challenge to kind of work in a smaller size. I digressed a bit there, but so the next show is an artist named Zachary Fish.
Nice.
So he's doing kind of a mixture of like art and technology, which goes back to the whole hashtag thing. So using kind of like online stuff and technology to get people out in real life, and the kind of mixture of tech and art to a certain point, obviously. He's got these crazy like 3D algorithm things that he's built online through programming stuff, and kind of a plotting machine that draws it all out with pencils and pens and stuff, which is kind of a neat touch.
That's
so
cool,
we're doing a solo show with him.
Nice.
Yeah.
When is that?
It'll be January 23rd.
Okay.
So the end of this month. And then my business partner Adrian is booked a bunch of Black History Month shows for February.
Amazing.
To coincide with that. March, we have an artist from OCAD who just recently graduated and is doing a solo show of portraiture pieces, I believe. I saw a couple samples. I don't know if she's going to add a couple more pieces in there or if it's the whole show's that stuff.
Nice.
I think she said she was working on a few more to get ready for the show, but April we'll have our 8-year anniversary show.
Nice.
And in May we go into Contact, so photo festival stuff. And June, I forget offhand what we're doing in June. Those are the ones I remember offhand anyways though.
Amazing.
But there are a couple more shows. We do have 2 floors here, so we do have a couple more shows that are booked for downstairs. We're chatting with emerging artists. They're looking to do kind of first shows. We're still just talking to them, figuring out exact dates and stuff for that. But
Amazing. Looks like all the good things are coming up.
yeah, lots of neat stuff on the horizon for sure. Always.
So can you tell us about some of your favorite galleries? Other favorite galleries.
Yeah.
Obviously, you love this one.
Well, yeah, obviously, clearly, yeah. I mean, if this wasn't my favorite, I wouldn't be doing it. But we know a lot of people doing similar stuff to us, and a bunch of us started around the same time. Gone doing pretty interesting stuff now. The Black Cat Gallery is just down the street. Andrew runs that space. He does some awesome stuff. He's going to be on the show eventually. So we'll interview him. A lot of the people that I'll probably mention have already said they'll come on and kind of do this podcast with us. So we will be introducing people to the spaces.
Amazing. Great.
These are the ones I kind of frequent because it's kind of like I like this kind of general scene where it's kind of like that street art kind of emerging art crowd because there's a lot of energy and a lot of really cool ideas going on. The Northern Contemporary Gallery down at Roncesvalles and Queen, they got some awesome shows.
Nice.
A new space just opened up called Broken Cage Gallery, which is on Bathurst and Adelaide,
Oh yeah.
where the old Nike running building was. So they took over that space. It was a really big space. It looks really nice now. They redid the inside of it and stuff. So they've had some cool shows so far that I went and checked out, and we'll keep going there because they're nice people and doing a good job there. They're going to come and chat with us as well, which is awesome. Project Gallery turned into Patel Gallery. They're doing some great stuff over in the East End. Who else is around? Those are the ones I've kind of got. They're kind of in this area. I tend to stay in the West End quite a bit because I live in the West End, and our galleries like Bathurst and Dundas kind of area. In Trinity, we're in Trinity Bellas right now, so I mean Toronto is one of those places where people kind of stay in their own areas and don't necessarily travel across the Yonge Street. So. So traditionally I'm kind of in this area, and then the AGO obviously they go there. There's one in Kensington too called Samara Gallery. Or Sandmark, I forget, honestly, I was there, I don't want to butcher the name. But they had some really cool shows on too recently, but they just opened up not too long ago, so I've only been there once or twice, I think, since they first opened. It was for performance art stuff, but the front had a nice little shop area in it. And some of the artists that we've had show here have also had shown there, so
cool.
I kind of saw their stuff, so some familiar faces.
Everyone get on your phones and Google the name of this gallery right now.
What gallery is he talking about?
In Kensington.
What we'll do afterward, when we actually post-production, we'll put some Instagram tags on there so people can know what we're actually talking about, or what I'm actually talking about.
We got you guys.
Rather than guessing.
All right, so how about some of your favorite artists? We need to know.
Favorite artists? Well, Toronto, obviously the ones we work with in the gallery, which you can find on our website.
Yes.
Eric Clement's done some awesome stuff lately.
Cool.
He's was living in Montreal now. Him and his wife are living in Toronto here now, out in the East End. So obviously I never visit. No, he's doing some amazing painting work. It's the more stuff I see from him, the better and better it gets. He's really come a long way, which is amazing. And he's also does custom toys, which he's really into. He and a bunch of other people from Toyronto did a group toy show here in September, which was awesome. There was about 12 artists from Montreal and Toronto that both did a big combination show of custom toys, like action figure type stuff.
So neat.
Eric hand carved his this crazy skull thing, and it was amazing.
That's wild.
So he was doing that, and Toronto-wise, he's a great one. Alex Garant does some amazing art. She started doing kind of the four-eyed kind of portraiture kind of stuff. So she's doing some great stuff. She blew up online too, so her Instagram's gone crazy, and it's one of those big things. Canadian
cool
artists,
stuff.
I guess. Kevin Lido is another one out of Montreal. He's a mural artist that I see every year in Miami when I go down for Art Basel and down in Art Week.
Cool.
But he does these crazy big portraits of people from the neighborhoods that he paints the pieces in. So there's one that a lot of people probably saw that there's a big Leonard Cohen one that he did in Montreal, right near where Leonard Cohen lived. Yeah, so he's a great dude. He also has his own studio practice, so he does like kind of portraiture pieces, but he's also done a lot of new abstract pieces, which are pretty great, which is a little bit of a different, well, he's had some abstract stuff in the portrait stuff, but now he's doing just purely abstract stuff as well, which I really like because I like flat design and flat, like nice crisp edges and stuff. As a graphic designer, I like the nice vector, flat kind of style stuff. Alex Yanis in Miami, he does stuff kind of like along that same vein, where there's nice crisp edges, kind of shiny, but he cuts everything out of wood and makes these crazy sculptures out of wood as well, but as well as like upcycled objects, so like old paint cans.
Oh wow!
They like paint the outside of the cans and turn it into like little, like heads and things.
Right on.
And he's got like these crazy stereo kind of sculptures where they're these. It's like a mix match of a bunch of different shapes and patterns and stuff like that. But it's like a stereo, fully functioning stereo thing.
What? That's so cool.
Yeah, and they got like giant like stereos that look like sunglasses, but the inside of the sunglasses would be like the like the speaker things. Yeah, they're awesome.
I love it.
Yeah, he's had some new stuff down this year in Miami for Scope. It was at Scope.
Cool.
Saw some
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
But yeah, those are always amazing. I've been a big fan of Tim Biskup, who's an artist out of California. Does kind of like kaiju big battle, Godzilla monster fight kind of stuff. But he also does, that's kind of a little bit of the stuff, and then it's, kind of, he does some abstract stuff now as well. I've been a fan of his for a while. I just picked up his book, The Tree of Life, it was called.
Oh yeah.
So that's a really cool one. There's, I got another book recently too by another artist I really like his stuff, Jonas Wood. It's kind of a flat style of painting as well. It's a little bit like kind of that naive style where some of them are like kind of like childish type drawings, but he also does a lot of plant-based art, and that's kind of stuff I paint myself is like kind of based on houseplants that I've grown and stuff. And so like part of the inspiration, I guess, is a little bit from his stuff, but also mixed with my vector graphic illustration kind of stuff. There's another artist kind of all in the same vein as that named Nina Chanel Abney. So she does like more political focused type work. She's another black artist from the States. I think she's based in New York. But she does a lot of like that kind of same, it looks almost like paper cutout stuff,
Cool.
but it's painted,
Yeah.
so it's like flat design style. And then, the bigger names like Banksy is obviously, I like his stuff. I like the kind of political message. It's kind of got a nice sense of humor behind it as well, which I appreciate and stuff. It kind of helps.
Lightening up the.
Yeah. You get a strong political message, but I think the humor kind of helps get it across to people and makes people more likely to share it too, or more likely to talk about it, because there is a little bit of that humor in it. But it's like, yeah, but it's still actually a
We
serious
need to
issue.
talk about this though,
There's like,
regardless.
it's funny, but why is it funny? Like that kind of thing. And then another British one, like Paul Insect's another British artist who does. He's kind of started crossing over into the fine art kind of realm. So graffiti artist turned fine artist, and then Cause obviously is another one that was a huge graffiti artist in New York, who's now crossed over to the fine art market and is just doing crazy big. Well, he just sold that Simpsons-based piece, the Kimpsons, where it looked like the cover of the that Beatles album. Like it sold for like over $1 million or something like that last year. Like it was, that was pretty crazy. But
Wow.
so it's kind of like interesting
very
seeing
cool.
that kind of like the crossover between the graffiti and the street art. And it's, a lot of museums are starting to pay attention a little bit more, and people like fine art collectors are starting to pay attention more and being like, well, maybe there is something to this street art thing. Maybe it was an actual like history or moment in history that actually does matter towards the whole
Sure.
art history, conversation that's going on or whatever. So it's kind of interesting right now that's kind of becoming in that kind of mainstream thing. And then like Barry McGee is another artist out of San Francisco that, is a graffiti artist that has sold kind of his lowbrow art in fine art kind of circles or whatever. And is doing pretty well. But, yeah.
Great. Thank you for sharing all that. Yeah. So do you guys have any future plans that you want to share with us today? Maybe like 5-year timeline?
I don't even know what I'm doing next week, let alone 5 years from now. But
Yep.
but although that being said, yeah,
I can relate.
we do want to keep using technology, because I do think that's one of those things that you can't really stop or slow down. It's, technology is here to stay, and I think you need to kind of keep up with it and be friends with it, as opposed to saying, I don't do that. I don't have a Facebook account because I don't want to do this, whatever. Yeah, you don't have a Facebook account, but you know, what is it, like 80% of the traffic on the internet goes to Facebook every day.
Yeah.
Like, you can't really ignore it, right? I don't know. So yeah, the goal is to get a lot more stuff online and start using the online platforms, whether it's through our website, selling artwork through there. We've also started working with ArtGate VR as a VR company. So they've developed an online art gallery where you can put on a VR headset and actually walk around in VR and check out art on the walls in like real size of art. So if it's a 6 foot piece and you're in there, it looks like it's 6 feet. And it sticks out of the wall. However far it's supposed to stick out of the wall, it sticks out of the wall. It's all, you know, virtual frames on each piece, whatever. It works really well. Brandon, the guy who developed it, he was saying that he started, the idea came from him being a sculptor and not being able to take these massive, huge sculptures, like weighing sculptures, shipping them to Italy to show a client, or flying that client from Italy over to Toronto to see this sculpture that he wants to sell to them. He could just pop on a VR headset, they could pop on a VR headset, and they can meet in the virtual reality gallery. He can show them the piece in 3D, explain about it.
So good.
Yeah. So we've been working with them, and I have another friend that's also done some VR stuff where he's developed, he basically mapped out this entire gallery in VR already. So you can, this exact space looks exactly like this, except the stairs aren't there. It's a blank wall where the stairs are right now, but the rest of it looks exactly like it does in here. Although if you look at the front window.
Don't walk down the stairs on VR.
If you look at the front window, the view across the street is actually the view on this side of the street.
Oh.
So when you look out the window, you're looking actually at our gallery, but across the street. So that's a little bit weird. So maybe that needs to be fixed up a bit. Yeah, that would be kind of neat. But yeah, so using the VR thing was kind of one of the directions we're kind of going in, kind of using that, because I think that's going to be one of those things that kind of starts taking off. More and more people are going to have it, and it's going to come into more mainstream kind of focus. We also want to keep doing more art shows outside Toronto. So we had a booth at Scope Art Fair in Miami during Art Basel Week last year in 2018.
When was that?
2018. In December. Started in December. Yeah, it's always the first week in December that it is. I think Art Basel itself is from like the Wednesday until Sunday, or Thursday till Sunday. And there's a bunch of satellite fairs at the same time. So Scope's one of the satellite fairs. It's just quite close by to whatever. But yeah, we want to keep doing fairs like that outside the city, just to get, you know, out of the Toronto art bubble. Yeah, and start interacting with crowds internationally. And I think that's, again, with the internet, there's, you know, a couple billion people on Earth. So there's enough eyeballs out there that can be seeing this stuff. So the idea is to get outside of our own little tiny community and reach the rest of the community, because there's people everywhere, right? And, you know, I mean, using my own art as an example, like I found I had a much better reception to that down in Florida, because it is like, it's based on a lot of tropical plants, and you know, those tropical plants grow in the tropics. So for me, the stuff I was doing, because I like being on the beach all the time rather than in the snow, which we're about to go into the cold season, but that worked out a lot better down there than it did up in Toronto, because it's not necessarily everyone shares that whole I want to have my head on the beach all the time mentality. But obviously living in beaches, it makes more sense to decorate houses like that. So the idea is to, you know, we have a lot of artists that we work with, but we want to try and find where that kind of audience is for all the people that we work with, and make that work. So, you know, maybe Toronto's not the only place that we should be doing that.
And like you said, there's so many platforms.
Yeah, with the internet, it's opened up the entire world, right? So it's, you know, as much as I want to keep making community in Toronto and bringing people together. And like I said, I work with all those other galleries too, right? Like, you know, if we have shows that I can't fill, I can send it to somebody else. And if they have a slot in their calendar, it's booked up, but someone wants to do a show, they can send it my way. Yeah. And we do. Like, we all talk to each other, we all hang out and stuff. So it's not that we don't want to just be in Toronto. Like, obviously Toronto's great too, but there's a whole bigger world out there. So.
The whole galaxy, really.
The whole galaxy, yeah. Once we start getting on the moon and Mars.
Amazing. Graham, thank you so much for sharing all this today.
Thank you for helping us out.
Cheers to you.
That was a good last minute
for you guys.
help. And obviously keep watching the rest of the episodes once we put them on there, and share them with your friends. And everyone else too, if you, you know, share the episodes around, help us introduce people to the art community here in Toronto, and then hopefully other places. Yeah, sharing is caring.
Yes, thank you.
All right.